Happy Friday! Welcome back to another episode of Holistic Health with Karuna and I. We're going to be continuing to speak on the mental and emotional body that we've kind of talked about in our previous episodes. What does holistic health mean to you? We'd love to know, so drop it in the comments and let us know. How's it going?
Hey, good to see you.
Hey Karuna, happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you too. All right, so we're going to continue our series today. Same discussion of last week, right?
Yep, going deeper into the mental and emotional body. If you all can remember, we talked about those four bodies, the physical, which is often the one that we focus on a lot of the times, but then there's also the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual body that we kind of discussed. And today we'll go deeper in the mental and emotional body.
All right, quick background. Julie is a life coach and does a lot of other things besides that. Very multi-talented. And I do life coaching, spiritual life coaching mostly, and do hypnotherapy, energy work, past life regression, soul work, so a lot more things. And we started this holistic health series a couple of weeks back, and we discussed that we are energy beings in the first episode. And second episode, we talked about thinking of ourselves as an energy field is a little difficult for the mind to comprehend. So we said, okay, let's go in and quantify it. So we quantified the energy body into four bodies, which you just talked about, Julie, the mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical, right? So it's much more easy for the mind to grasp numbers and bodies. And we said all these bodies are interacting with each other. They are affecting each other. And that's where the rise of consciousness has happened in the last couple of decades, where we've realized that we are not just a physical body. We also have other unseen bodies, right? The physical body you can see with your five senses. But we realize that we have emotional body, which and mental body and spiritual body, and these bodies are affecting our physical health. So if you really want to take care of your health, you need to go beyond just thinking of yourself as a physical body, right? And as we are waking up to this consciousness of taking care of our emotions and thoughts, we are paying more attention to our emotions now.
Yeah.
Earlier, we had this belief system that life will heal, and we keep stuffing everything, underneath our conscious awareness. We keep hiding all our emotions, we keep hiding all our thoughts, not realizing how it's impacting our physical body, right?
Yeah.
But time doesn't heal anything.
Yeah, my favorite part about our conversation from last week was seeing that, for example, when we have stress and anxiety, it actually lives in multiple places, of the body. It can come from the emotions, it can come from the mental side. You can take care of it physically and sort of just holistically seeing how you can look at it from different angles and see how something that's stressing us out or bringing anxiety into our life is coming from multiple sources. So today we'll be sharing a little bit more about the mental body. And I think for me specifically, I'm a lot of the times in the mental body. And so I always say sometimes it serves you, sometimes it doesn't serve you. And kind of being able to understand the two really helps out.
Yeah. And since these bodies are really vast and huge, right, it's because we are not able to see these bodies. They are part of the subtle energy field, though we can sense it at times, what people are going through by watching their face and their way of behavior, what's going on with them in those bodies, right?
Yeah.
But if you're a poker face person, then you people may not realize what's going on within you, right? So these are like, I would call the physical body as 1% of what you can see, because that's 1% matter. The 99% of you is all these other subtle energy bodies around you, right? And last week we talked about what creates stress and anxiety in the emotional and mental bodies. And this week we wanted to go ahead and talk a little bit more there, because I think this is a very important new area for most people,
Yeah.
right? The emotions and thoughts are not something that you can rationalize with. So in the physical body, you can rationalize and say what you need to do to make it healthy, but you really can't do that with the emotions. Doesn't matter what is your level of education, whether you're a high school dropout or you're a double PhD. You can't rationalize with your emotions. If you have a fear, you have a fear, period.
Yeah.
Right? No amount of data is going to help you say, okay, I should let this fear just go because the data shows that more people die on the road than they die in the plane. So I shouldn't have a fear of flying. It doesn't work. Right? So fears, emotions, thoughts, these require different approaches. So if you look at an energy field, one of the simple ways to look at it is the emotions. The emotional body consists of all the emotions. So there are positive emotions and there are negative emotions. Now, which one is greater in your body? What is the balance like? Are you holding more negative emotions in your body, or are you holding more positive emotions in your body? Where are you? Okay, that gives you an idea where you need to work on. So in a very simplistic model, I'll say all you have to do is increase your positive energy and decrease your negative energy, right? Right now, you may be fluctuating between the two. And for many people, the negativity is high because as human beings, we focus more on the negative versus the positive. Right? It's because we are programmed from childhood to do that. It's all about our parents, our teachers, and other beings telling us, don't do this, otherwise this will happen. Don't do that, otherwise that will happen. So it starts with don't. And then we'll end up being programmed to think negatively, right? And therefore, throughout the day, we have several experiences in a day, but the one experience that stands out most for us is the one which is negative. Do you agree to that, Julie?
Yeah, definitely. And hi to everyone who's dropping comments and waving. Yeah, I agree. And sometimes it's like a pattern trap where, you know, mentally we think of something negative or we're overthinking a certain thought, and then it goes into the emotions, and then we fall into that emotional trap too. And sometimes it's the cycle that you have to catch yourself and see how you can pull yourself out of it. You know, for example, if you're in the mental and you're starting to have imposter syndrome about something and you're not sure of yourself and you're doubting something, then that starts to affect your emotions. And then the emotions almost again start to affect your mental side, which makes you doubt even
Because
more.
we're
So,
interrelated, right? So
yeah,
tightly interrelated. You really can't separate the emotions and thoughts. They're just going one after the other all the time,
yeah,
right? So basically, if you look at the simplistic model, if these are the two things you have, positive, negative, what can you do to increase your positive emotions, basically,
yeah,
right? So a simple technique you can use is find out what creates positivity within you, and then spend at least few minutes a day thinking of that positive event, right? The more you think about a positive event, the more that event collects momentum within your energy field, and then it starts lifting your energy field up, right?
yeah,
So the first time I had a client many years back who, when he came to me and I asked him to think of something positive in his life, and he struggled. He just couldn't think of anything positive, right? So it shows how much we get trapped in our negative thinking that we don't even realize that positive things are happening, right? The fact that we are alive, I think, is a positive thing, right? Because as long as we are alive, we have an opportunity to uh, learn and grow spiritually, right? So just being alive is, I think, a great blessing to be, right? So, yeah, it's tough sometimes for many people who have had many negative experiences in their life, and unfortunately, like energy attracts like energy. So if you're focusing on negativity, then you're going to invite more negative people and situations in your life.
yeah,
And then you go into the spiral loop, right? You're going down, because you started with being negative and then you kept attracting more and more and more negative. So the tiny ball of negativity kept enlarging and becoming bigger and bigger in the
yeah,
energy field. So since we understand how this works, and since being negative is so natural to us, we need to put in an effort to be positive now,
yeah, yeah,
right? And the more you can put that effort of trying to reverse your thinking uh, and inviting more positivity into your life, the more you can lift your energy frequency up. And that's why in the first episode series that we did on self-love, we were talking about how you can learn to love yourself more and more, because love is such a high frequency energy that it
yeah,
can help to lift your energy field a lot. Because when we don't love ourselves, we invite more negativity into our world. Okay,
Yeah.
right? Because when we don't love ourselves, we don't know how to set proper boundaries, then we invite a lot of events or situations in our life where we don't know how to set boundaries, but those events create frustration and anger within us, right? It's like if I don't have a boundary with certain person, maybe it could be a family member, then they can encroach on my private time and space and make me do things I don't want to do. It's like I don't want to go to a party and they want me to come there and I haven't set proper boundaries and I have to go there. So now I'm frustrated, I'm angry, I'm not enjoying myself, so I'm building the
Yeah.
negativity within me.
Yeah,
Right?
and and for me, how that shows up after the fact is almost like resentment, because at the time I felt like, oh, this is what should happen, should be done. That's what people are expecting of me. But then at the end, it's the resentment because you went straight into the action and you didn't really think about how it's aligned with you or without you. And we have a question here from Isaiah asking, Julie, how do you continue to shine and bring yourself back to heart when your mind decides to take a journey away from you? That's a beautiful question because summarizes exactly the process of that when you're taken away from kind of the true alignment that you were talking about, Karuna. And I actually have a post-it note right next to me that says, sometimes energy is wasted in analyzing. And that's my tendency, is just analyzing, trying to understand. And sometimes I think for me personally, I cannot find the solution through analyzing. I just have to kind of quiet the mind, stop that analyzing, stop the mental body, and go into what is it that I really want? What is it that's really supporting me? If I were to advocate for myself, one of my clients recently used that word, advocate for myself, which is exactly true in that moment. How do you stand up for yourself, advocate for yourself, and say, okay, what I really want to be doing is this thing. And then I think for me, it's more stepping into the emotion side. What am I really feeling? And who cares the analyzing, the overthinking of, what people will say or think. So yeah, sometimes energy is wasted in analyzing. And I sometimes laugh about that because when I go on the run on of whatever thought it is, I go, oh wait, energy is being wasted right now because this is not bringing me to any more closer to the solution that I want.
I think another thing to add to the point of is that uh, the journey of our life is between the head and the heart, right? And we are more and more living in the mind all the time because that's how we are geared to do from childhood, right? Schooling teaches us to be more in the mind rather than the heart, and we start
Yeah.
doing more and more of that. And then when we are in our mind is like a 4-year-old child. It doesn't really have answers to the questions in life, bigger questions or bigger challenges that we have in life. So when we are trying to find a solution to problems with our mind, many a times we may stumble, especially for bigger experiences, right? And therefore, at that time, instead of trying to rationalize and analyze with your mind, take a short break and come to your heart for a moment. Think of something that you love, right? And bring that love in your heart more and more. And just take a break from the problem that you have. Okay. Don't try to rationalize. As we keep saying over and over again, you cannot rationalize with emotions, right? So don't try to rationalize at that time. Just trust us. Bring yourself back into your heart. Okay. Think of something that you love, whether it's a food that you love, whether it's a person that you love, whether it's a pet that you love, whatever it is. Bring that feeling of love more and more into your heart. Just take a 1 minute break. Bring that lot of love into your heart and keep focusing on that love for a few minutes. Okay. And then go back to your problem. You might find a solution because in that energy of love, you will find out of box solutions.
Yeah.
Right? In the box, your mind can only think in the box. It will try to find solutions within the box, and maybe there are no solutions within the box. Therefore, it gets more and more stressed. Right? To think outside the box, you need to bring your energy into a positive state. And I think love is one of those higher frequencies. If you can pull yourself from your mind into your heart, bringing yourself into your heart just for a minute and expanding that heart energy out. And then going back to your problem, you're going to come with a better solution. And
Yeah.
I think the journey about life is experiential. So don't believe me, guys. Go try it on your own.
Yeah.
Okay? because this is an experiential journey and you need to experience it on your own, what it means to be in the heart. Right?
Yeah.
So spend a few minutes in your heart every day, because if you can bring yourself back into your heart multiple times during the day, you're going to be able to find more creative solutions to everything going on in your life. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's so much research being done. There's this beautiful institute called heartmath.org, and they are doing amazing, groundbreaking research on the heart and how the heart actually has its own brain and thinking, and how the heart's magnetic field is 100 times more stronger than the mind's magnetic field. And that the heart sends more messages to the mind than the mind sends to the heart. Right? So we think our life is all around the mind, but actually it has to be all around the heart, because the heart is your portal to higher consciousness. Heart is your portal to out of box solutions. Heart is the place from where you can make more balanced emotions, have more balanced emotion, because it's a place of harmony and peace and joy. Right? So the way we can try to do that is keep bringing ourselves back in the heart. And if you're in your heart, you will know how to set healthy boundaries, right? Because you know exactly what you want versus doing what your mind is telling you. And when you listen to your heart more and more, it is going to guide you more, because it has so much knowledge and wisdom. It's way beyond the mind. The mind cannot even understand a simple emotion like love, right? Because love comes from the heart. So you can rationalize with your mind what is love, but really to experience love, you have to get into your heart, right? So a lot of your emotional and mental things you cannot do from the mind, because the mind doesn't understand emotions.
Yeah. Although we do talk about how everything's so intertwined. So I think like sometimes they're in a way connected, or one leads to the other. So like when I was saying, sometimes being in the mental body can serve you, sometimes it doesn't serve you. Maybe it serves you to understand something more, or to go and explore more about an emotion. And then you remember something that happened to you, and then it helps pull you back out. So I think it's like, I totally agree in it's very important to stay in the heart, and
I
think
think you have to
about
use
those
the heart
emotions.
as a guidance system, and
Yeah.
then you have to take action with the mind.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the left brain. It's like the left brain and the right brain. The left brain is like the mind, it's logical, structured, and the right brain is like the heart in a way, because it's unstructured. It is out of box solutions. It believes more in visualizations, right, and music, and being creative. But you need both to live, right? You cannot just live with your right brain or with your left brain. You need both. But if you can use the guidance of your heart and then apply the logic of your mind to it, and then come up with a solution, you will come up with a better solution. And the reason for this is because our heart is, we're not able to listen to our heart very clearly because of all the pain and hurt we have stored there. And therefore, you need to logically analyze a little bit at times. Right? But once you get better and better at clearing your heart and becoming more and more open in your heart, then you really, I think the job of the mind is very limited then, because you'll follow your heart and the heart will just create synchronicities for you. It'll guide you to take the right action automatically, right? Because the heart has its own brain, right? So it's thinking with its higher mind, right? So yes, but till we reach that level of consciousness, higher level of consciousness, we are going to oscillate between the mind and the heart all the time, right?
Yeah.
So you're right, they're integrated. We need to use the both. But I'm asking you, just can you keep your eyes on your heart, because that's your guiding post,
Yeah.
and use
Yeah.
that as the basis for taking action, right? If you're in a state of love and then you look at a problem, you're going to look at the problem logically, but now you're doing it from a new perspective, and perspective of love. You're going to find a more just solution to the problem, because you can
Yeah.
see multiple hats. You can wear multiple hats when you are in a state of love, right?
Yeah.
So the solution becomes uh, much more authentic to your true self, right? So that's why we need to oscillate between the heart and the mind. And yes, they are connected till we reach a level of consciousness where we allow the higher mind, which is lying in your heart, to help guide you through situations.
Yeah.
So coming
And
back to being simple again, because I like simplicity.
yeah. And
What can you do to increase positivity in your life? Basically, that's your main question, right? Because that's how you'll make your emotional body stronger and stronger. So what can you find joy? People are waiting to have big things happen in their life to find happiness. And I'm saying find happiness in small things, because small things happen more regularly, right? So you can keep building your energy field through small events in your life that bring happiness. I don't wait till I get that, certificate, or till I get that car, or till I get that house, then I'll be happy. No, because that is a one-off situation. Or if I win that tournament, I'll be happy. No, to win the tournament, actually, you need to build your energy to be positive. Because in a positive uh, space, you can play much better. And I'm talking because you're an athlete, right? So you've been in the world of sports. So I'm talking as you're talking to me about your volleyball tournaments. And I'm thinking that, yeah, you want to be the best athlete possible, you need to make your energy stronger.
Yeah.
Right?
And
And this,
and I think going continuing on athletes, sometimes you have the mental chatter, and the mental chatter is actually a bridge to bring you into the emotions, at least for me, because mental is so much more powerful for me. That's just how it worked out. If I go into the overthinking or analyzing, it's a sign that there's something that's leading me more towards the heart or towards the emotions, that something's bothering me and I need to bring it into the other bodies to kind of look at it from multiple angles. But for me, because it starts in the mental often, like the chatter, the thoughts, and everything starts from that point, and then from there it gives me the cue to go deeper into, okay, what's the emotion that I'm feeling based on the situation. So I love that it's sort of a bridge. One connects to the other, and sometimes we're more in one than the other, and how we can kind of bring them together to close the gap
yeah,
there.
it's just going like this all the time, right? We go here, we go here, we keep shifting all the time, right? But the problem is, as I said, we are used to staying in the mental more often, right? And we also need to bring ourselves back into the emotional a little bit, because emotions are your guiding post. It's like the lighthouse. It guides you about what's going on within you, right? Also, sometimes another thing that happens which can create stress and anxiety in the emotional body is there is an elephant in the room and we keep ignoring that elephant, right? So there is something going on in your life which is creating stress and anxiety, but we keep ignoring it, thinking that if I don't look at it, don't think about it, then I'm going to be okay,
Yeah.
right? But it's coming back, which is not going to work, because that's in your periphery and it keeps circulating around you. So there's this chronic stress that goes on underneath you all the time, because that elephant is always there, right? So can you come back and take a moment to face the elephant? If you can't do it on your own, then get professional help. Get help from friends who are wise, right? Or wiser than you, right? Not friends who like are thinking negative, right? So can you face that elephant and work on it and, convert it into a mouse so that you can continue forward in your life? And I came to this because I had recently had a client and there was something major going on in his life. And he said, Karuna, I don't want to look at that thing at all. And I think that's the thing which is coloring everything that you're doing in the other parts of your life, right? So just by ignoring that elephant, it's not going to go away, right? You have to face it and you'll have to see what you can do with it.
Yeah.
So again,
My favorite part as a coach is when someone comes to you for like this area of life, and then you actually don't even need to focus on that area. You focus on some other layers that are a bit deeper, and when you focus on those layers, it automatically solves all the layers that were at the surface. And sort of looking at from that angle of this might be the obvious thing you want to fix, but actually what really needs to go deeper in some healing and some get releasing is something completely different. So when a client, I'm sure you've experienced this, Karuna, when a client comes to you for a certain thing at the beginning of the call, and by the end of the call, you're talking about something completely different, and yet it's very related, because like you said, it's what's coloring it's what's coloring all of the other parts of their experiences in life.
yeah. And some of the things could be as simple as, you're behaving a certain manner because you have low self-esteem and low self-confidence. And because of that, it colors your behavior in many aspects of your life, whether it's work life or personal life, right? So instead of trying to attack the problem in the work life or personal life from that area, maybe the underlying issue is just the self-esteem, self-confidence. Right?
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about. So we start with something else, but then we really look deeply into it, and then we realize it's just your self-confidence which is having issues. So maybe that's the area we should work on, right? Rather than working on this. And I have this with many clients, right? Because many times they want a particular change in their life, but their motivation level is very low. right? Because it's a mind that wants the change, but the heart is not engaged in it, right? Therefore, their
Yeah.
motivation is very low. So the problem is not let's quit smoking, let's work on motivation.
Yeah.
Rather than if you come to me and say, I want to quit smoking, and my doctor says I need to quit smoking, so I need to do it. So your mind is saying to quit, but underneath there is no motivation for giving it up. Right. So then then it's not going to really work that effectively if I work on helping you quit smoking because your heart is not into it.
Yeah.
So then the underlying issue is the motivation, and then maybe it's we focus more on motivation, increasing your motivation to quit smoking versus working on quit smoking. Because when the motivation is high, then changing your programming for releasing smoking is much faster and easier. Right. So yes, it's an onion layer. So when you look at the outer layer and then you start peeling the layers, you know that there's other things going on emotionally or mentally and within you that needs correction. Right. But just to make it simple as always, find out what can you do to increase positivity in your life and make it a goal. Right. Because everything else in your life will start falling into place when you are in a positive frame of mind. So rather than attacking other goals, can you increase positivity in your life and then work on all your other goals? Because all the other goals will become so much easier to achieve when you're in a positive frame of mind. So
Yeah.
make positivity a goal and put some time and effort into it during the day.
Yeah.
Right?
And of course, that doesn't mean just like, let's have affirmations all day long and just repeat
No.
them and like, go into, oh yeah, I'm such a positive person. It's like you also have to be very honest and realistic with what's going on. But then, can you find the light at the end of the tunnel when you're in a difficult situation or in a, specific moment where things are tough for you? Can you still choose to be empowered, like we a lot talked about in our second series, empowerment, to continue to move forward and still know that you have choices to get yourself out of whatever situation you want to get yourself out of?
And sometimes when we are in a situation, we have this narrow vision because that problem becomes like the only thing. And then at that time, sometimes you have to bring yourself out of that narrow vision and expand, right? As an athlete, for example, yeah, you go for a major tournament, maybe you're playing in the nationals, and you suddenly that nationals becomes the most important thing for you. Now your vision is tunnel vision because you just want to win that nationals. But then you kind of lose perspective of the bigger picture, right? As an
You're
athlete, you're going to
seeing,
play thousands of tournaments,
yeah,
right? And really, this tournament may seem very important at this moment, but is it the only tournament you're going to play in your life? Or are you going to
yeah,
play many more tournaments? Because when you can bring yourself out of the stress of one tournament and look at the picture a little more bigger, then maybe you can relax a little bit more and say,
yeah,
it's okay. Yeah, it's not the biggest thing in my life. I'm not going to, it's not the what deal breaker, so to say, that it
yeah,
affects my life so negatively if I lose this tournament that everything in my life is going to collapse,
yeah,
right? Because that creates so much pressure on you when you're thinking that this tournament is the be all of everything,
yeah,
right? So if you can bring yourself out of the tunnel vision and expand your vision, you will be able to understand things from a higher perspective. And one of the ways, as I said, expanding is don't use logic. Come to your heart. Your heart has a brain and it'll help you expand faster. Right? So even though logically you may say, oh my God, I have so many things to do, Karuna. I can't stop right now to go into my heart. Yeah, you can continue doing all those things with your mind, but you're going to work harder and harder to do it just with your mind.
yeah,
Right? If you're smart, you want to work smart versus working hard, stop. Take a 1 minute break. Come back to your heart. Fill your heart with some positive emotion and then go back again. You will do much better then.
yeah.
Right? So
What came to me when you shared about the, for example, the tournament, sometimes you will be so stuck into how you're performing and then you get stressed and, feel anxious and you forget to look at the big picture of there's a team there, for example. They can support you, you can support them, like you can take input from your coach. And when you start just like tunnel vision, oh, it's just me, I'm making errors, then you forget to look at like your whole support system that's around you and all the other tools you have. So that's what it made me think of too. A lot of times we'll see like top level skill athletes who totally crumble in a game because they forget to think that, hey, it's not always like everything's resting on their back. They can always spread it to others and support others and get supported. And it's this dynamic of get out of that tunnel vision and open your heart and see who else you're connecting to, and see how you can work better together as a team, for example, if you're playing team sports.
Yeah. And I think that applies to every other person too, even a non-athlete, right? We do the same thing with problems in our life. We get into a tunnel vision about one problem that we have, and we get lost in that problem totally, right? Instead of looking at things from a higher perspective and bringing yourself out of it and re-looking at it. That's where I think a life coach or a holistic healer helps a lot, because they are not in the box with you. They are outside your box. So they can actually look at things from a more dispassionate area, right? Because you're so passionately into your problem that you've forgotten everything else. And the coach is outside that, and it can look at the bigger picture and help you to see things from a higher perspective, right? Yeah. And emotions cannot be rationalized. You need to find some tools to let go the emotions. Okay, so if you know that you're feeling stress, then do you have a tool to help you let go the stress? And I don't mean a mental tool, I mean an energetic tool. Okay, because mentally, if you try to say, oh, I have to be calm, it doesn't do anything to the stress. It's going to be there, right? But if you have a tool, like we've been talking of grounding in this series, can you ground yourself at that moment? Can you connect yourself to the earth? Because the earth energy is so strong. So then it's like you said about being working in a team, then earth can be your team if you're playing individual sports, right? And you can take the strength of the earth to help you come back to balance, right? So that could be something simple to do. Or you can have breathing. Breathing is another great thing. We are breathing all the time. We're going to breathe till the last moment of our life. You can use your breath to let go of stress. Okay, in that moment, maybe that's the best thing you can do, because breath is with you. So start breathing and start visualizing that you're exhaling all the stress. And then start visualizing that you're bringing in calmness. And do a couple of rounds of this deep breath, 3 to 9 rounds at least, I would say, right? Before we can really release a lot of stuff. So you just using your breath as a tool rather than being an unconscious breather. Can you consciously breathe? Our breath is a connection between our life, our mind, body, and soul. Okay, that's why there is so much emphasis on breathing in all Eastern philosophies, right? And we call many of the holistic practices as mind-body practices. Right? So your breath will help you to bring both together. So at that moment, instead of worrying about what am I going to do next, take a breather. Come back to your breath. Focus on your breath. Release whatever emotion is bothering you. If there's a lot of sadness happening, can you at that moment, instead of trying to rationalize your sadness by going into your mental body, can you just say, okay, I know I'm feeling sadness. Let me first release whatever I can with my breath, and then I can go back to analyzing it to death, right? But let me just take the tiny break to do things a little bit differently, right? So bring yourself back to your breath as often as you can. Take nice deep breaths often during the day, because it really, the more calm you are, the more deeper you're breathing. And the more stressed you are, the shallower your breath, right? So don't allow stress to build up. Learn to take nice deep breaths as often as you can during the day and release. Yeah. Sorry, you were saying something.
No, I was just going to say, and I relate to what you said, because when you're, overanalyzing and thinking of that, it's okay to say, you know what, I'm going to put this on a break. I don't need to analyze. I don't need to understand. There's certain things that just like they are the way they are, or a lot of times it's like with past childhood or experiences, it's like, you know what, maybe I will never understand exactly what happened that day. And it's okay. I don't need to understand. How can I, like you said, release the emotions, clear it up and heal, but also say, you know what, it's okay. I'm done putting energy into trying to analyze and understand, because you can only get to a certain point, and then what's the point? So a lot of times I kind of set specific topics in my life. It's like, okay, this topic, I've out analyzed it. We're done with it. Like, put it to the side. Okay. We're working on the emotions.
Yeah, that's the one thing everybody has to learn. Don't try to rationalize your emotions. Yeah. Okay. Instead of wasting time rationalizing emotion or just sitting with that emotion, take a tool, release those emotions. Yeah. Spill it out of it. Because as we've talked many times before, if you're feeling an emotion, it's the tip of the iceberg. There is a lot going on underneath before it manifested in the physical, where you felt the emotion, right? So there is a lot to clear up that moment. So don't try to understand the situation. Yeah, sometimes it's okay to remain in that energy for a little while. So if I'm feeling sad, I might allow myself to be sad for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes if I want. But I'm not going to allow myself to be sad for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I understand, being an energy healer, how important it is for me to release this sadness. So instead of spending my energy being in the state of sadness or being in the state of anger, I'm going to work on releasing that anger with my tools.
Yeah. And I
Right?
give
Because that
myself
is more effective.
and I give myself permission to say I don't even have to understand why I'm sad. It like,
Yes.
okay, I just am. Let's go release it. And that's
Or
so
you
much.
may understand also because the event happened and you
Yeah.
know why you're sad, right? So it really doesn't matter whether you know why you're sad or why you don't
Yeah.
know why you're sad. It makes
Either
no
way,
difference.
you have to clear it up.
Exactly. Ultimately, you have to clear that energy,
Yeah.
right? So if you know that you are energy being and that everything is energy around you, then you just have to know what are the tools by which I can clean up my energy body,
Yeah.
right? And remove them. Use those tools to release things, right? And I think that's a great place to stop today.
Yeah. I mean the
So,
energy, the mental and emotional body is so vast. So we hope you would enjoy our discussion today. And if you have any questions or experiences that you want to share with us, we'd always love to hear from you guys about, how it is for you in your emotional and mental body and what
yeah.
goes on and what questions you have. But thanks, Karuna. I think you froze a little bit. But yeah, let us know in the comments, and we'll see you in the next episode.
All
Oh,
right.
you're
Thank
back.
you. Have a great weekend. Thanks, Julie, too. And thanks, everybody else.
Thanks, Karuna. See you guys. Have a great weekend.
Bye bye.
Bye.